evening and welcome to a special Cover Our Tracks report. Why are we on the left panicking over the movie The Sound of Freedom and the realities of child trafficking that it exposes? Why are Rolling Stone, The Washington Post, CNN, and other trusted outlets smearing the movie and creating a narrative that is fueled by crazy conspiracy theories? Well, in doing so, we realize it looks like we're trying to convince people that child trafficking isn't a problem at all in order to protect vile predators. And that kind of makes it seem like we have some kind of vested interest in child trafficking, almost like we support it. So tonight we'll be covering our tracks by telling you why Sound of Freedom deserves to be bashed and why we're not guilty of doing what we're actually doing. Starting with the facts. Sound of Freedom is based on the life of Tim Ballard, founder of Operation Underground Railroad that sets up sting operations to rescue children from sex trafficking while putting predators in jail. To date, they've rescued over 7,000 children and helped to make over 6,500 arrests of predators. Pretty impressive statistics considering child trafficking doesn't exist. Now to the movie. Released on the 4th of July, Sound of Freedom has come out of the gate as the #1 movie in the country, beating out Indiana Jones that was backed by a mega budget of $300 million. Sound of Freedom was only backed by a budget of truth, and its success suggests that truth spreads and wins based on its own merit. But we believe the truth is worth less than money, and the reality that Sound of Freedom exposes isn't truth you can trust. That's why we're here to feed you lies that you can trust. Now, listen closely because the brainwashing is about to begin. Our working narrative that we're aggressively smearing the movie with is that it's based on QAnon-fueled conspiracy theories. Let's hear more. The now definitely not complicit in child trafficking Washington Post called Sound of Freedom a QAnon-adjacent thriller seducing America. Seducing America into what? Not caring about and being willing to stop the heinous abuse of children by the most vile predators on the planet? Yeah, trying to trick Americans into that isn't good for their interests. The Washington Post tries to discredit the film further by discrediting Operation Underground Railroad itself by proudly stating that Glenn Kessler, the Washington Post fact checker who has yet to find a single fact but keeps trying, found no evidence of Tim Ballard's claim that 10,000 children are smuggled into the US each year for sex trafficking. You're doing God's work, Glenn, and also doing a great job of not finding what you're not looking for. The trusted news outlet also shares that in 2020, Vice News investigated Operation Underground Railroad, and though they found no falsehoods in their rescue claims, they did conclude that they have a pattern of image burnishing and mythology building, a series of exaggerations that are, in the aggregate, quite misleading. Provable facts and experiences are at the top of the list for things that are quite misleading. This just in! Just so you know, Vice News is now owned by George Soros, so feel free to do the math on why they're helping out society by helping protect traffickers. And the Washington Post hits a home run when they say, but the movie has nevertheless been promoted on QAnon message boards, and some accuse it of playing into the movement, which is based on the false belief that a highly organized network of global elites are kidnapping children, having sex with them, and harvesting their blood. Again, this is a false belief. Trust the Washington Post. Nothing like that happens.
It's crazy. So ISIS, when they rolled in and they took advantage and took all the minority religious children, Christian Yazidis, the same thing's happening in Africa, and they're setting up these like baby factories where they'll impregnate women and make the babies just to sell their body parts. One little boy in particular, who that was happening to him, he was kidnapped actually at 4 or 5 years old until he was 12, and they would just slowly suck like the spinal fluid, and they would sell it. This is a witch doctor kind of satanic ritual stuff where they sell the blood and people like drink it and think they're being empowered. And it's a real thing. And this kid had lost all use of, by the time he was 11 years old, he looked like he was 7 and he couldn't use his limbs. And we were able to get him to a doctor in Salt Lake at the Children's Shriners Hospital.
Again, completely false belief according to the Washington Post. And we'd like to thank the Washington Post for speaking out against people who are speaking out, let alone rescuing children, who are being trafficked and having their blood harvested. Because after all, blood harvesting isn't a problem, but people raising awareness about it is a problem. And luckily, we're here to help eliminate that problem. Next up, Rolling Stone got on board the being willing to appear to be protecting child predators train in order to do God's work of silencing dangerous misinformation that wouldn't be dangerous even if it was misinformation. According to Rolling Stone, Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. And in their own subtitle they say, the QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer. They go on to call the film a call to action in an imagined global war against sexual predators. Now, we can't stress enough how much Rolling Stone wants you to believe that child trafficking is just something imagined. And it's awfully good of them to put so much effort into trying to get you to believe so, isn't it? And just something to preferably not think about, outlets like Washington Post and Rolling Stone had fiercely labeled what are now provably true facts as conspiracies, like Hunter Biden's laptop, the lab leak, and side effects. And also don't consider that now that those occurrences have proven to be true, these outlets are still calling them conspiracy theories. So you should have plenty of confidence in trusting them when they label another provably true phenomenon, child trafficking, as a conspiracy theory. And if you don't trust them, then you must have brainworms or something. Does ivermectin work against brainworms? What's Mel Gibson have to say?
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom.
Correction, Mel Gibson. The most disturbing problem in our world today is awareness about trafficking, and we must eradicate awareness. And we'd like to thank CNN, Washington Post, and Rolling Stone for their efforts to eradicate awareness about trafficking. We see you and will never forget what you're doing. In conclusion, why is the left panicking over the reality that Sound of Freedom exposes? Well, we'll let you decide with this multiple choice quiz. A, climate change is causing them to do it. B, they want to create a safe space for dangerous people. Or C, they're scum who are protecting predators. Weird that 83% of people so far think it's because they're scum who are protecting predators. I don't know what that's about. That's it for our special Cover Our Tracks report, so you don't think any further into why we on the left are bashing Sound of Freedom and so desperately trying to discount its message. The truth shall set you free, so we'll continue trying to hide the truth from you so you won't be free. Because we care about you. Trust us. Good night. I'm coming out of the closet and admitting it. My favorite underwear on the planet is sheath underwear. Sheath makes the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. If you're sick of wearing boxers that are too loose or briefs that are too tight and you want to wear the most comfortable material on your body and you want to look good doing so, Sheath underwear is for you. Believe it or not, I'm wearing Sheath right now. And Sheath is now the only underwear that I put on my body. I've fallen in love with them, I love the comfort, and I love not looking like a slob in front of my wife. Oh, and one of the unique things about Sheath that I love is the underwear comes with a dual pouch system which keeps things from sticking together and keeps your man parts separated right where they need to be. I was skeptical about the dual pouch system because I don't identify as a kangaroo, but I actually love it. And if you don't want to use the pouch system, no problem, you don't have to. The underwear functions well without you putting your man parts in it. They're stretchy fabric and made out of moisture wicking technology. And they're super soft and keep everything cool, comfortable, and in the right place. especially useful for staying cool during the summer and while working out. I'm not a psychic, but I would predict they'll be the most comfortable boxer briefs you've ever worn. Plus, they have new material options like bamboo and mesh for even increased coolness and comfort. If you want to get your hands on and your balls in the most comfortable underwear that you will ever wear, then just go to sheathunderwear.com/awaken. And while you're there, use the discount code AWAKEN for 20% off your order. Enjoy.